But first, the fortnight since the sudden and tragic death of Kimberley Kitching has been an eye-opener for those who didn't know much about the Leader of the Opposition. The turmoil of allegations about mean girls and bullying is the first time many Australians have had a good look at the bloke who wants you to elect him PM. Despite being in the Parliament for a quarter of a century, a brief turn as Deputy Prime Minister and now 3 years as Opposition Leader, Anthony Albanese really hasn't managed to cut through with the public. Although Labor is ahead in the polls, there's still a significant hesitation about their leader. When asked, most people know very little about the man who wants the big job in a number of weeks. What are the things he likes most about Australia? What are the things he likes least about Australia? And what does he really want to change if he becomes Prime Minister? It's one of the cunning things about a small target strategy. By not having detailed policies and no pressure from the mainstream media to rule things in or out, Albanese reckons he'll be able to do pretty much whatever he likes if and when Labor wins the election. To date, much of what he's said is about trying not to scare the horses. No republic, says Labor, at least not in Albanese's first term. I'll keep the boat stopped too, he says, just like Rudd did, or promised he would, and Gillard promised as well. He'll be better for women. I'll tell that to his dead colleague. He says he won't hit Australians with all the new taxes on retirees and investors that Labor promised last time. And he won't change the government's policy on nuclear submarines. That's what he reckons. Even though he's always been a fervent Republican, has long argued for wealth taxes and death duties, has declared in the past that he couldn't bring himself to do boat turnbacks, has always been fiercely anti-nuclear, and indeed has frequently described himself as a socialist. This week he did a very soft interview to generate this headline. I'm not woke. That's what he wants you to believe. But can we trust him? Do we even know him? He says he's not woke, but his first response to Kimberley Kitching's use of the phrase mean girls was to dismiss it as disrespectful. Disrespectful, mind you, not to the late Senator Kitching, but to the mean girls themselves. Senators Wong, Keneally and Gallagher, all set to be serious cabinet players if he gets over the line in a few weeks' time. As to his own record in cabinet, he's only served at that level for 6 of the 26 years he's been in the federal parliament. So cabinet, what did he actually achieve? Well, nothing much happened in his time as Transport Minister to duplicate the Pacific Highway in New South Wales or to upgrade Queensland's treacherous Bruce Highway. No East-West link in Melbourne, no big road projects in any other capital cities. All of that had to wait for the election of the Abbott government. There was nothing on the Western Sydney airport either, although Albanese's first speech to the Parliament in 1996 demanded they have the third airport. But that, again, was an Abbott government achievement. In fact, the most memorable aspect of his time as minister was an emotional press conference to announce he was backing Kevin Rudd against Julia Gillard, where he declared that he liked fighting Tories.
I like fighting Tories. That's what I do. That's what I do.
I've only ever seen him cry in public life about the later leadership. Nothing about you, nothing about anything else. I like fighting Tories is what brings him to tears. It doesn't sound very substantial, does it? And neither does it really square with his election eve declaration that he's not woke. But it's about as near as a political philosophy as we've ever had from the alternative Prime Minister. That's pretty thin after 26 years in public life. In his Getting to Know You interview with 60 Minutes, yet again, he told us about growing up tough as the sole parent with a sole parent pensioner mother. Now, good on his mum for raising someone who could go on potentially to become Prime Minister, and good on him for making the most of his chances in life. But surely there's been something since then that's been at least as character forming as that, and at least as instructive about who the guy is that wants you to make him our country's leader. The danger for Albanese is that he becomes defined by his deference to the mean girls and his refusal to take seriously the bullying of the late Kimberley Kitching, even though he's demanded inquiries uphill and down Dale from everyone else faced with harassment accusations. Just as Scott Morrison is still haunted by his Hawaiian holiday and not holding a hose. It's not just the opposition leader's palpable double standards here, but looking like he's not capable of standing up to senior members of his own team that's so damaging. As Bob Hawke famously put it, if you can't govern yourselves, you can't govern the country. I mean, would a Prime Minister who won't take on Penny Wong and Kristina Keneally over party management be capable of standing up to dictators with nuclear weapons or national security issues? Or stand up to weak caucus colleagues if Australia really had to turn around the boats once again if people smugglers get back in business? Between now and polling day, there has to be a collective conversation about the real nature of the alternative Prime Minister. If what he's telling us now is true, he'll lead a do-nothing government. If he's true to himself, it will be a Green left government. Either way, Australians deserve more than just a slick makeover and soft interviews.